Previously on We Hate the Cold.
สะพานหมดแล้ว
We've got a puncture.
That is so fucking beautiful, man.
จำได้ยูผู้เฮ้ยสงครามยูผู้
Bike's not turning on. Fuck. Oh, it's a place I can sleep. Yes.
It was late in the evening. I'd just arrived at my guest house, soaked, muddy, and ready for a sleep. I would soon be stuck 40 kilometers between villages on extremely difficult trail roads. With half a bottle of water, my muscles starting to cramp up completely, and only the help of a few locals who passed through. I would end the night in that village, with no hotel, no signal, and no safe way to make it to the destination I had wanted. So what happened? Well, in this video, I'm going to share that story with you.
Good morning. We stayed the night in this horrible $6 guest house. Stains all over the walls. Can't really complain for $6. Got aircon, everything. Today we're going off to a place where there might be an old shelter from the Vietnam War, and then off to Mui Gia Pass, and then we're going to make our way over to Takek. So the time is 8:08 right now. Let's get some breakfast and get on the road.
I have a same one.
You do?
Yeah,
Where?
yeah. But I don't know inside.
No way.
I will show you. But I don't know how to use it.
You don't know how to use it?
Yeah.
Oh man, it's so easy to use.
You can teach me like
You just
that.
point at shit, you know?
Please teach me how to.
I will.
How to do it.
Yeah, let's go get some breakfast, man.
Yeah.
It's funny to meet you.
Yeah, I really.
I'm a firm believer in the fact that if you travel the right path, life just unfolds in front of you. You meet the right people at the right time when you need it the most. I checked into that guest house the night before, noticed the motorcycle, and thought to myself, I hope I can meet whoever that is tomorrow. Well, would you believe it? I slept over my alarm, and it just so happens that we woke and packed our motorcycles at the same time and could meet. Is it fate, or is it laziness? I prefer fate because it makes me look less like a lazy piece of shit. Anyway, I'm glad I crossed paths with this man, because I did at a time when I needed advice. He's a 64-year-old Korean man called Soonki, doing adventurous travel like this, with an exceptionally infectious personality and laugh. He's also got a YouTube, which I'll link in the description. I was going to the Vietnam War shelter, and he was going to Asia's largest caves. It turns out they were in the exact same place. Anyway, we set off for the caves, arriving in about 20 minutes, only to find they were closed to visit properly. Unfortunately, the Vietnam stuff wasn't available to see either, but the girl told us it was there during hot season, and we could trek down and see the caves if we wanted, but couldn't go in. So we did just that.
You know, all of this stuff makes me feel like Indiana Jones.
Me too.
Meeting some more mates on the way, and finally arriving at the caves, which were incredible.
Oh my god! The scale of that is immense. I don't think the camera does that justice, but oh wow.
After taking some obligatory selfies together, we left the caves to set off on separate journeys, but figured out we were going the same way, so might as well travel together. I learned that his parents lived through the Korean War, and he shared a few stories with me, asking why I was so interested in war history when it was so horrible. I couldn't really answer. I just find it fascinating. Anyway, we set off down crazy trails again, and with rain on the horizon, things would become a little more dangerous. We went through incredibly remote villages, chatting about interesting things, and I was enjoying having a travel companion after a few days of loneliness. Traveling the way I do, you don't often meet people who are in the same mind frame. Most seem to have extended holidays, drinking all the time, and while there's nothing wrong with that, it can be hard to feel like you fit in somewhere. I like to travel this way to test my abilities, expand my mind, and seek adventure. After having a drink at a local village, we found ourselves crossing more bombed out bridges, fragments of a war left behind. And when we arrived, it would appear we'd have to pay the foreigner toll pass.
So we've definitely just had to pay the foreigner tax. She says, "Sao pan," and then he comes along and he goes, "Nah, I want 10,000 more. Simpan. And I'm like, "Why?" He said, "This is boss number 1, and this is boss number 2.
Okay.
Boss number 1 pays 20,000, and boss number 2 gets 10."
When I went to Sikandong, I paid 150,000 tips
Wow!
to cross the,
Really?
Yeah.
Fucking hell, man.
No choices because there is no options, no other option.
When we got off at the other side, my new friend would have a tumble. And with the rain making the roads more slippery, I would just be about to have the exact same fate.
Reason number, what is it now, 28? Why you don't buy things on Lazada? Or 29? That's just broken right off. Oh man, these roads are awful. I've fallen over once. Didn't catch it on film. That's my first ever bike crash. Ever. Luckily, didn't get hurt.
After picking my bike up, putting my phone in my pocket, and heading back on, what would follow was incredibly beautiful, remote driving that took us to places which felt like most had never been. Huge mountains, lush greenery, and things that quite frankly made me feel like I was in Lord of the Rings. It turns out, Laos kinda looks like New Zealand in places, and I would later stay in a hotel called Hotel New Zealand. Like the seal.
I can't express to you how beautiful this is. I feel like I'm in Lord of the Rings. You know, with the big statues in the river on one of them. I don't remember which. I'm not a nerd. Sorry. Da, 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 da.
Just before the 2-hour journey would come to an end, we'd stop for some quick relief from the rain under a hut for some workers, where I got a great picture of Laos' potential new communist leader interacting with the people like a real, normal man. Finally, we'd arrive at Tarmac, where we'd have our last supper together, before parting ways for a much more dangerous journey.
Roti de talon mighty. Say, man. Ni menu bo? Okay. Gang Mark. มีข้าวเหนียวโอเคข้าวเหนียวไข่เขียวนะครับOkay. What do you want?
Well, we sat there and had a great meal together, rode on a bit more, then parted ways at the petrol station. After saying an emotional goodbye, I was on my way to civilization, in search of laundry services for my horribly dirty clothes. It was here I'd only bloody end up on the Takek loop accidentally. Ugh. Paved roads, beautiful views. No thanks, mate. But it was here that I'd find something I'd been missing, and run into a few troubles.
So the plan changed because it rained today. I did not want to go up horrible roads again and be stuck in the dark, so we came to Takek instead. And you never guess what? Happy Women's Day, everybody. Bread. Alright, now let's go find a hostel. I'll probably spend a day here, edit some videos, but look at that sunset in the distance. Wow. And the clouds, man. The clouds looks fucking Interstellar today. Interstellar.
After arriving, I'd rest here for a day, only to wake up to broken bungee cords. These would prove weirdly difficult to find, which puzzled me.
Bungee cords are proving quite hard to get. I've asked this shop, this shop, this shop, two shops down there, none of them have them. You see people bungeeing like crates of stuff all over their motorcycles, and you're in a major town and all the motorcycle shops don't sell them. Like they sell like motorcycle like seats here and stuff, but not bungee cords. After about 45 minutes of searching, we found them at this shop. Thank God.
Then it was off to find a phone mount for the journey. But first, Vietnamese coffee. And after that, to a market where no one seemed to know if there was a shop that sold them or not.
Okay, come Not even 50 metres away from the other shop, and there's one here.
My adventure was tantalising. Looking for bungee cords, a phone mount. What was next? Well, would you believe it? Finding lost silver in my new tyres.
I went over a speed bump earlier, and I went over the bit that fell off. Look at the karma I get.
Then it was time to make my way for Laxal, on paved roads and beautiful views that I'd be grateful for later. I genuinely had no clue I was on the Takek Loop until I noticed the tourist signs directing me to a waterfall, which I reluctantly went up to try and re-energise myself. I'll be honest, that day I was exceptionally tired and I just wanted to crank out the miles. But I went anyway, and I'm glad I did.
Wow, that is beautiful!
Because I found a fine motorbike antique that I would have loved to ride. After a short detour, it's back on the fine road, and I started to connect the dots that I was on the Takek Loop when I saw topless, hippie-looking men riding around in groups with no helmets. I was honestly not that impressed by the loop. I feel like you can get a motorbike, pick a random town on the map in Laos, drive to that, and get better, more authentic views. But you can't really complain. Beautiful views, great roads to ride on compared to the rest of Laos, and stops every few kilometres to restock supplies. Something I would come to miss later on. So I can't really slate it, but I just did, so if that offends you, fuck off. One of my favourite parts of this journey was singing the Russian national anthem, completely incorrectly, from poorly reconstructed memories of Call of Duty 4. After this, it was time to get some headphones, so you never have to listen to that ever again. For the last part of the ride to Laxal, where I'd find the nicest guest house I ever stayed in, and eat this really hip and cool new British-French fusion cuisine I heard lots of people talking about.
Pain à la bougie. Oh, oui, oui, pain à la bougie. This is why I'm an Englishman and not a Frenchman. Okay, big reveal, big reveal, big reveal. You kind of toasted it, sort of, a little bit. I don't know if that's mud or that's... oh no, that's just mud. Should we try the exhaust? Well look, it's got little griddles as well, so we'll get like little fucking patterns on that. If this video goes big, I'll have a hard time selling the bike. Oh, he's toasted it! We made fucking motorbike toast! Yeah, boy!
Alright, I didn't realise, but we've arrived where I was supposed to be. I'm done. So there's a guest house down there. I'm going to check what the price is, and if it's too much, I'm going to head another 50 minutes that way. So yeah, budgeting. So we found a place for 200,000 kip. That's like £6. That's fucking crazy. Look at this place. Incredible for the price. What the fuck, man? Look at this place. Look at that view. Yeah, I'm live. Wow.
I stayed here for a day to wash my clothes and dry them. But as luck would have it, things would go horribly wrong. In the night, I woke up to rain and I had to rush to get my clothes in.
And my jeans are soaked, so we're dealing with wet jeans today. On the bright side, at least my motorcycle got a little clean.
Then, in my tired stupor, I tripped and ripped the number plate off the back of my bike.
Fuck's sake.
Nightmare.
Oh man, I swear every morning there's been a problem so far. Alright, I want to get off early today as well.
Thinking about what I could do, I went to the hotel reception and asked the man where I could get a license plate. He said, "No worries, mate, follow me," and took me on a 1-hour detour out of his day to make sure that I got my license plate refitted. Anyway, on the way, while following him, I spotted something that fascinated me and would link in with the greatest story of this trip. So I had to go stop and say hello.
คุณเป็นคนมงโอ้ยในภาษามงพูดว่าอย่างไหนสบายดี Nyojong. Now you might be wondering, Harry, why are you showing me this strange language that's telling me I have moves? Well, it's a particular language of a particular ethnic tribe that fought for the CIA in the Civil War here. Now, not all of them did, of course, because most of them fled the country later on. But as we'll find later, one of the most influential leaders, Vang Pao, was Mong himself. He actually fled to the United States. He recently died. Operated in the northern regions, holding one of the most famous CIA bases, which we're going to go see later in this video or in another episode. I'm not sure. This is getting quite long now.
After saying goodbye to my new Hmong friends, I set off on the road for Pakistan. Making it by around 4 p.m, I decided that after all of the trails we'd done before, this would be a bad idea in the dark. I didn't know what might lay ahead, and this would be the only smart decision I'd make before making the treacherous journey the next day. So I turned round, had a look at the big communist monument, and checked into one of the most communist hotels I've ever stayed in for a great night's sleep.
Loom in hell, we are staying in the most communist hotel ever. Look at this place, man. Oh, shower's actually fucking decent. It's always the bathroom test. But oi, I like communist hotels. Look at this. Bloody hell, mate. Look at this view. They've got a fucking netball net. Why does the aircon not work? Brother, please. Alright, time is 7:57 now, just packed everything up, about to leave this hotel room. Gonna go get some breakfast and then we're heading off to the old CIA base today, up horrible roads. So, these vans are going to be even more brown by the time we're finished. Let's go.
Upon waking in the morning, I was confident in my ability.
Didn't think this through really, did I?
Smashed out a short boxing workout, and then I jumped on my bike for the day. With the route telling me it was only 3 hours to make it to the next destination, I was confident I had time, so I only had a small breakfast of fruit and bought one water for the journey. This was the first mistake of many.
PP Mini Mart. For those who have small PPs, which is why we're not going in. We're parking up outside to eat dragon fruit. Oh god, I'm such a 5-year-old. Full tank, full belly soon, and then off on the road. Full send. That's what you Americans say, innit? Oh yeah, I'm so Americanized. Gas, full send, mini PP Mart. That's for independence, motherfuckers.
I set off on the road, thinking I was ready for what the day would hold, until I discovered something that I never thought I'd live to see.
Wow. The more you see, eh? They told me go and see the world. You'll see the craziest things. I've seen it all. I need to go home now. Well, my vans used to be white, I promise. I did try and keep them white as well. But... wow. Oh my god, man. Oh, this is so worth it. This is so beautiful. I'm gonna go wash my shoes. Look at them. This is so wonderful, man. Words cannot describe. When you see something like this, oh man, it just feels like fucking Tomb Raider, Lara Croft, Uncharted. Oh, it's beautiful. To think these people have to deal with this every single day is wild. And look, that lady is on the back of a fucking bike with her kid. Look at this road. Oh, wow, is it beautiful though? Is it absolutely stunning or what? Just, oh. No, man. And the butterflies as well, just flying around. Come on, my hands. Come on, brother. Come here. Come here, come here. Oh, yes, brother, I'm in mush. My old boss used to say I'm in mush. Matthew Elwell and Nick James. If you're watching, shout out, boys.
I was truly living out my dreams, loving the nature, and so proud of myself for making it down these routes. But with trips of this nature, something is always lurking around the corner. And after a while, I got stuck in the bog. When you're on your own, it turns out 125 kilograms in thick mud with no real traction can be exceptionally difficult to pull out. This being the first time I had been stuck in a bog, I had no idea what to do and went straight for brute force, pulling my back. This alone wouldn't have been such an issue if I hadn't already had serious lower back issues 4 years prior due to an incorrect deadlift, which left me with winding pain every time I would attempt something as simple as steps for 6 months after. Eventually it recovered after a couple of years, physiotherapy, etc. But there's been a twinge there ever since, and with some re-slips 2 to 3 times. So I was worried that I might be close to a re-slip, which means loss of range of motion and excruciating pain. This was the first onset of slight panic, which would later evolve.
I don't know how much I got of that, but I just got stuck in the mud for like literally half an hour. I pulled my back and yeah, my bags are over there. I had to take the bags off because it was just so hard to get out. I'm gonna scout the road ahead, but I don't think I'm gonna make it, you know. Beautiful river at least. Look at those views, man. Absolutely wonderful. If worse comes to worst, I'll just have to camp tonight. I'm gonna repack the bags and we're gonna continue trying this. I came out here for this.
After getting out of the bog successfully, I came across a village where I was able to stock up on some food and water. I bought 1 extra bottle and 6 tiny cakes. I thought this would be sufficient for the road ahead. But during midday heat and my excessive sweating, I would come to regret not packing more later, when my entire body would start to cramp up and panic onset number 3 would occur. First, it was time for panic onset number 2, with some words of warning from locals saying how difficult the path was and how they thought I shouldn't attempt my venture.
Where you go?
Muang home. Yes. You speak English good. Yeah. And by Muang home.
คนเดียว
พูดคำเดียวถนนอันนี้ไม่ดีเลย
พูดอันนี้ให้ยาก
ทางยาก
ยากกว่านั้นอีก
ยากกว่าอันนี้
ยากเสียบอัน
300 125ไม่ได้ difficult
What's your name
Harry
Harry
yeah your name ขันยินดีที่ได้รู้จักครับขัน
I pushed on regardless, taking on some of the most difficult roads I've ever done, getting stuck and getting help from the locals, and more advice that I should turn back. I had come this far. I wasn't turning back. Now, unfortunately, My 360 camera was playing up this day, so it was hard to get footage. And filming was not my first priority here. About 3 hours after I'd left the village, I'd drained through my water supply to 500 millilitres left. I was caked in sweat and my muscles beginning to cramp. First my right arm, then my left arm, then my right leg, and then my left leg. Until I got to the point where my hands were clenched shut and it was difficult to open them.
Holy fuck.
Now, I am a little embarrassed by this, but I want to keep this series authentic. Last time, the hand clamping happened to me. I had a seizure, and although drugs were in my system before, I panicked at the thought of that and hit the emergency on my phone. I felt like a bit of a dick for doing this now, and I'm very lucky it didn't go through because there was no signal. So I took a breath, realised I was on my own, and pushed on. My next task was to try and find anyone I could buy water from. I hadn't seen anyone for hours, and I was saving my small supplies for a potential night of camping. Not sure if I had enough, but thinking I would at least survive a horrible night of dehydration and a little hunger before cracking on the next day.
There's no way that's fucking 2 hours. No way. I cannot express to you how difficult this road just was. It doesn't do it justice on camera, but look at all these dips, all these slides, all these rocks on a 125, man. I was trying not to get it in the dip, but when you get it in the dip, you have to lift it out and then you have to go back on, but you can't use the front brake because if you fall, like if you go backwards, you're gonna skid down the hill, so you've got to constantly... Oh my god, man. These roads are no fucking joke. Right, I'm in a situation where my muscles are cramping up. There's a hut over there. I'm wondering if I can go ask them. I don't really want to go on private property though. Dog. Fuck that shit, man.
I tried as many huts as I could find, but there was no one home. It was getting close to sunset, and it was starting to look more and more like I would need to camp by myself in the wilderness. I was trying to at least get a little more water. I drove for about an extra hour, until I saw a motorbike on the side of the road. Waiting there, I looked for signs of people, and as luck would have it, a young friendly couple came out from the trees and shared their food with me.
ขอบใจเลย 10 กิโล
10 กิโล18 กิโลในฮอดละ
10 กิโล โอเค
เจ้ามาทางหันทางกีฬาบ่หันน่ะกีฬาโลดแต่ว่านี่ทางดีละ
I saw this bike as I was coming up because my hands started cramping up, and when my hands start cramping up, that's not a good sign. And I saw this bike and I thought, oh my god, there's people. Please, 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 let me ask them something. And they shared their meal with me, and they told me there's a village up there. Honestly, I was thinking like, shit, I might actually die here. Ow, man.
ไปแล้วเดี๋ยวสิไปเฮิรนไปแล้วขอบใจครับ
ขอบใจเลยขอบใจยินดีที่ได้รู้จักครับ
I could relax after that. I knew there would be a place I could at least get water at the end of 10 kilometers. Now you might think 10 kilometers is just a short ride, but in conditions like this, it can take a very long time. I had to take the bike across rivers, helping locals do the same in return.
ขอบใจเลย ยากมาก Okay. If you come to Laos, I do not endorse what I'm doing, by the way. I do not endorse it at all. Don't fucking do this. If you do it, you're an idiot.
Drive some of the muddiest, most remote roads possible, crossing bridges that would stretch across raging rivers supported by nothing but some cables.
That is insane. That view, man. Oh my god. This has made this all worth it. Just this alone.
Eventually, just before sundown, I would arrive at the next village, 40 kilometers away from the destination I had planned earlier. But in a way, I had arrived at just the right place, in just the right time.
We've made it to a village. Oh my god, I'm not gonna die. Oh, I can get water and food. Rusuk sanuk mak mak mak. Oh, mi ahan, mi nam. Okay, our nam song quad now. Yeah, middle of nowhere, people are staring at me like I'm a fucking ghost. That kid's scared of me.
Realizing I didn't have enough time to get to the next place, where a hotel was, I asked if I could camp somewhere. They looked at each other, somewhat confused, but processing the question in the back of their minds. And they finally said, "You can stay here."
Okay, this is the first time I've ever done this. They're letting me put my tent down over there, which is so nice of them. I cannot believe the friendliness of Lao people is wild, man.
And as I was putting my tent down, I'd gather quite a crowd.
Savadi.
The pressure was on. I'd never put this tent up before. I had to act like I knew what I was doing, while I had my crowd of people watching in anticipation to see what the interesting foreigner was going to build.
Okay, my home for the night is up. I'm not gonna lie, I feel a little bit strange, but I'm forever grateful for these people. Time's about 5:30. Now, I don't know what I'm gonna do for like 4 hours until everyone goes to bed.
This family belonged to the ethnic tribe of Hmong, the people I had wanted to meet all this time. And here, a village still existed, not even 10 kilometers away from the original CIA base I had set out to visit earlier that day. Unfortunately, I'd never find it, and it must have been ruined by the passages of time. But what I would find was a home for the night. Not just a place to stay, a family who I'd converse with late into the night, who would ask me questions with a curious eagerness, and I would ask back with the very same. A family who fed me traditional Hmong food, and a village who accepted me there for the night, played sports with me, and included me in their culture, not just as an outsider,
This has to be. Look
but
at the old
almost
stone
as one of their own. I laid down my tent for the night there, grateful for the good of people and the good in humanity. In the next episode of We Hate the Cold.
Wow. สมัยสงครามบ่
ลูกเอาเมียอยู่ประเทศไทย
บ่มีลูก
บ่มีลูกบ่ให้ได้เอาเมีย
บ่มีลูกบ่มีแฟนยก